y'all, what's up? It's Cam.
Hey y'all, it's Desinae.
Hey, it's Jada.
Hey, it's Jay, and you're listening to Four Deep, a podcast with four Black women in their 20-somethings who aren't afraid to get deep with it.
And if you're listening to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, don't forget to rate us 5 stars. And if you're watching us on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on your post notifications.
And as always, let us know what you think about each episode, how deep we got on a deep rating of 1 to 4. What did we say last week? We did it too deep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We did it too deep.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we didn't hear from y'all what y'all thought about our episode last week. So consider this a full press. I don't like that. Do better.
Thanks. I didn't hear it. Damn thing.
So we have comments, YouTube and Instagram and TikTok and Twitter. We got a poll on there that's dry. I don't like that either. Let's see what else. We have a Spotify poll. We have DMs. There's just no way. You haven't told us what you thought yet. Y'all don't love us. Bye.
Like, is it me?
Episode canceled.
We're done. And that's all. See y'all next week.
No, but for real, let us know what y'all think, please.
Yes. And I mean, this is episode 2, so we're just going to get deeper and deeper and deeper. So, as y'all know, by the title, the topic of today is the power and importance of your mindset. You know we're going to get deep on this one, okay? So, get your wine, get your notepad, okay? And get them earbuds. Yes.
Get that notepad.
All right. Okay. So yeah, let's just get it started. We have a quote here. And basically, let's talk about what we think when we hear this quote and what it means for us. So the quote is, "It all begins with a thought." This, people say this where it's like, oh, you're talking about your business idea. You're talking about how you got to where you are right now. A lot of times we hear it all begins with a thought. So what does that mean to y'all? I'll let one of y'all go first.
I think it kind of when we say like it all begins with a thought, I think it kind of like sets the stage for what progress you make towards what it is that you're thinking about, or whether or not you make progress at all. So like sometimes that can be like the beginning of something beautiful where you're like working towards whatever it is that you said that you wanted to do, that goal, or pursuing something that you've been kind of sitting on for a while and unsure about. But then that thought can also be something that like keeps you from going after that. It could hinder you. It could give you a lot of doubt. It could give you, a lot of fear. And then it also kind of like, I think leads how you speak about it too. So I don't know. Your thoughts are powerful. They can kind of just determine what direction you go with something for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Honestly, that was my first thought. I had to do it. Corny. Okay.
That was a good one.
Okay. No, so honestly though, it really, to me, it goes into like the power of a habit. Like it all begins with a thought. And so once you can understand this thought and like what triggers it, or what really makes it more prominent than other thoughts, and the backstory behind that thought, because a lot of times there is, then you're able to really gain control over it. And I feel like once you gain control over your thoughts and your mind, then you can gain control over basically everything else in the way that you perceive your world.
Yeah. I like, oh, go ahead.
Okay. So I really, it all begins with a thought. It's really just the way that you see life, your perception of life, like, is everything. Like, you could be the poorest person in the world, you know what I'm saying? And if you perceive yourself to be rich, or if you still perceive your life to be rich, or still perceive your life to be of quality, that's exactly what it's going to be to you. And when it comes to thoughts, there is like that little voice, that's like in the back of your mind. And it's like, you can choose to listen to it, or you can choose not to listen to it. Honestly, it's multiple thoughts that's coming into our head, millions of thoughts coming into our head every single day. And you kind of have to decide which ones you want to pay attention to, and then which ones you don't want to pay attention to. And that's like literally going to determine your entire quality of life. I know there's like that little voice, that the pessimistic voice that's back there. You know what I'm saying? And then there's the one that's really just telling you to go for think big. You know what I'm saying? You got to think big. And then you got the one that's, no, you can't do it. Oh, that's not going to happen. Oh, you're going to get your heart broken. Or, oh, no, you can't get that job. You know, whatever it is. And you got to figure out which of those thoughts that you want to listen to. And that is definitely going to determine your entire quality of life.
Off the mic. Yeah, you ate that one little thing. For sure, I needed to hear that. Yeah, y'all pretty much hit that on the nail. One thing I probably add is really just to go off what Desinae said is, you know, what are you gonna do with those thoughts that you have? Like sometimes, you know, when those negative ones come in, or however you may perceive them, it's kind of like at that moment, it is just a thought. It is not a reality yet. It has not happened. You know, you don't know what's going to happen with this. So what are you going to do with that thought? Because a lot of times that also is what influences what happens and how you're feeling and how your day goes or whatever, how decisions get made. You know, what are you going to do with that thought? Are you going to let it sit and bother you and make you worrisome? Or are you going to have it, you know, process it, push to the side, can't let this stop me type, you know? But even when it comes like, you know, to the good thoughts or ideas, you know, a lot of times I feel like, you know, sometimes we have thoughts and we have ideas and it's kind of like, you know, maybe not, you know, it's just a quick little thought. But one way I like to see things is like when you have those reoccurring ideas and those reoccurring thoughts that come up and it just keeps coming up. You keep thinking about it. You know, I don't know if I should do something with this or not. But I feel like, you know, when you keep getting an idea, when that idea keeps popping up, it's meant to be. Like God wouldn't present you with anything that's not for you. And for something to be that recurring, it's like a sign like, come on, let's go. You're not having, I always say, you know, you're not having this idea for no reason. All the things are lining up. That's not happening for no reason. It's not just a coincidence, you know, it's happening because it's supposed to happen. And so realizing that and, you know, being more confident in the ideas that we do have, because a lot of great things that we have now, whether it be great events, great workshops, great people, great organizations, they came from an idea. And, you know, sometimes that one idea may not make it fully to the end, but in the process, it may shift and change and turn into other things and still at the end be something great. So you really have to just start off. It's not going to be perfect, but just, you know, when it comes to those good ideas and those things where it's like, I really want to do this, I really want to try it, and it keeps coming up, just try it. Like, then you can at least know if you like it or not because you tried it. But sometimes if you just leave it as a thought, that's really all it ever becomes to be. So it's definitely, figuring out what you want to do with that thought and handling it. But it takes a lot of like confidence and trust and just a whole bunch of other things. So it's definitely easier said than done, but that's true. It all really begins with a thought.
And just know that the negative ones. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I was gonna say I have 3 points for that because you had me bubbling.
Come on.
So one, thoughts can go away and they also can be reoccurring. So definitely write them down. Just like a lot of things come in the form of dreams sometimes too. So write your thoughts down. That's why literally the Bible says write it down, make it plain. You need to write it down. Okay. Because when you write it down, it takes it out of your head and it makes it more tangible. So that's like, if you don't know where to start there with writing it down. And then I wanted to say that you're so right. We do have these multiple things going on in our heads and these multiple thoughts and like where they're coming from. And I want y'all to know that there's three main. There's you, there's the enemy, and the Holy Spirit. There's three. Okay. So you have to determine what's what. And I want y'all to know, like, not everything's the enemy, please. Like, y'all be so quick to be like the enemy. Like, no, how about you? Have you heard the term? Yes, you like we are our greatest enemy sometimes. So yes. Like, look in
It's
the
so
mirror.
tough.
Maybe you might be your own enemy right now. Like, so
Preach
we
on
have
that.
to really understand like the difference between them all. So that was point number 2. Point number 3 is also to be careful who you share your thoughts with, because they are in such a seed form that people can kill them before they even sprout. And so you want to make sure that you are very careful with who you're sharing your thoughts with, because if say somebody, you know, shot down some ideas, we wouldn't have electricity, we wouldn't have telescopes, we wouldn't have computers, we wouldn't have a lot of the things that we have today if people shared their thoughts with the wrong people, and then they killed their ideas, and then they just kind of like was like, all right, well then I'm just gonna stop. So make sure that you understand that the gravity of what your thoughts are, and treat them as gems and gold, and as gifts from God, because a lot of them are, especially when they are those ideas that are reoccurring and that you're very unique and you feel like nobody else has these thoughts or these ideas. Hold close to those, like hold those close to your chest, and really be very careful with who you're sharing those thoughts with.
And most of those negative thoughts, that's just fear. You know what I'm saying? Most of that is literally just fear. And people are more scared of the idea of fear, you know what I'm saying, than the outcome alone. So they never even try to begin with. And I read something recently where they were saying like, we need to learn the difference between the worst outcome and an undesirable outcome. And just because the outcome may be undesirable does not mean that it's not the best thing for you. So really just take that leap. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, of course, you may at times have the undesirable income in the back of your mind, but that's when you have to act despite those negative thoughts. You have to act despite the fear. You're gonna have to, you know what I'm saying? Really, it's the learning how to control the negative thoughts. So they're going to be there for sure. Like they're always going to be there. Like as humans, you know what I'm saying? We have negative emotions. We have negative thoughts. That's natural. That's going to happen, but you can't let that hold you back. So you just got to learn how to work beside them. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be there. And so what? So what? Get used to it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, really get used to it. Get comfortable with it. And over time, you know what I'm saying, it'll be easier for you to combat those negative thoughts and those fearful thoughts and all that type of stuff. But you just got to do it, even though you are scared. Being scared is not an excuse. It's not an excuse to not do something.
Facts.
And Des, you're doing that. You're literally looking at all like the lies that you're telling yourself, and you're rewriting the truth for you and replacing thoughts with better thoughts to change your reality. Like, so powerful.
Yes, y'all, about that. Y'all need to get into that. If you feel like there are things that's holding you back and like you really don't know why, I did start a new exercise where I rewrite my new beliefs every single day. And it'll be like from like deep rooted limits and beliefs that I had that came from when I was younger. So like, for example, when we hear money don't grow on trees, or you're going to have to work 3 times as hard just to get half of what the white man gets, or I'm trying to think what's something else like that. Money is the root to all evil, you know, things like that. That's like repelling the things that you actually want away from you. You got to go back and figure out like why those things came to you, and then create a new belief to replace it. And then I started to rewrite the new beliefs every single day. I made like a long list of the limits and ones. I mean, a long list, like front and back, like a long list of stuff. And it's like, you know, for self-confidence, for my self-worth, it's for my beliefs behind money. It's like all of that stuff. And then I wrote new beliefs to combat those. And I write them every single day. I recite them every single day. And I kid you not, like my whole, like it really is starting to change in my subconscious mind. Because, you know, your subconscious is what believes that stuff. Even when you know it's not true, you got to get your subconscious to believe it so that those thoughts don't keep coming into your mind. So I'm, you know what I'm saying, writing this stuff down. So for the money is the root of all evil. Now it's money is a tool that I use for good. You know what I'm saying? It's not good, not bad. It's just a tool that I use for good. Or money doesn't grow on trees. There's an abundant flow of money, literally. I don't know why they was telling me money don't grow on trees, but damn near it do. Damn near. You know what I'm saying? Damn near. Like if you really being real. And yeah, if you hold on to those limits and beliefs, they will hold you back. Thinking that I got to work 10 times harder will keep me working jobs that I hate, because I think that that's the only option to make a living. You know what I'm saying? No, that's probably like the biggest thing that made me take that leap and start going towards project management instead of just staying in something that was that was realistic at that time, that was like happening right now, but I would have never gone further if I wouldn't have felt like I could, if I felt like I had to work 10 times harder, if I felt like I would have to be stressed out, if I felt like, it wouldn't happen for me. So yeah, really get into those deep rooted limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and get into that. There's like one more deep one, because I just want to give a better example, a really deep one, because this is like not one of like somebody telling me something, but it's like an act that had been reoccurring in my life that made me believe something that led to something else. And so my parents, they used to just always like leave us at other people's house, like to be babysat. And so like we would always be like at our cousin house or at our auntie house or at our granny house. And you know what I'm saying, for extended periods of time, you know what I'm saying, longer than we're supposed to be over there. And it would just always make me feel like I was a burden on people. So me feeling like I was a burden because my parents are passing me and my siblings on to other people. You know what I'm saying? You get like little chatter here and there that you hear like as a kid. I don't think nothing of it now, because as I know, I'm my parents' responsibility. Like they shouldn't even have had to, go through those lengths. But it made me feel like a burden. And I carried that. And it made me become I became really hyper independent, and I couldn't ask people for help. And I would feel like a burden anytime I would ask people for help. So now I'm just hyper independent. I got anxiety. I'm an overachiever. Like I was like super stressed out, having anxiety attacks. And then I had to like start thinking about it. Like, why do you feel like this? Like, why do you feel like you can't ask people for help? People get help all the time. You're supposed to get help. You can't do everything by yourself. But my body, my mind just wouldn't let me ask for help. And so I had to go back. I had to think about, why am I like this? Came up with the new belief that, you know what I'm saying, people want to help when they're in the position to. So you find people in those positions when you need help. And people do want to help, but people do only want to help when they have the capacity to help. And that's just the truth. So that's my new truth. Not that you're a burden when you ask for help, but people want to help when they're in the position to help. So that's who you find when you need help. And that's like my new belief. And my anxiety has went down. I'm not having attacks anymore. And I know now that I can ask for help from the people who can extend that to me.
Man, that exercise you're doing,
I think it's a little
powerful.
I think it's a little deep.
Yeah. I'm so proud of you just for doing that, and like just hearing the fact that you even unpack that, like where this feeling of being a burden and not being able to ask for help and being hyper independent came from. Like, wow. That's
It
That's
took some
huge.
work. Took some work.
I feel like I want to start doing that exercise too, because
I
honestly,
like that.
I feel like the first place I'm gonna go when I'm anywhere in life is I'm gonna be in my head about something. It's always ever since I was like a kid, I'm always very much that person who's in my head about everything. I may not talk about everything, but best believe I'm going through it in my head. And it's like, it could really be that one thing that keeps you from doing whatever it is. Like, not even going after something that's like outside of yourself, like going after a job or a new opportunity or whatever the case may be. It might be a goal that you set for yourself. You might be thinking like, I don't know, like maybe I want to get fit or do something, along those lines. But then it's like, you're scared about maybe like what other people's perception of you might be if you start doing X, Y, Z, like if you start taking care of yourself better, And so it's like, for me, I really have to be conscious of where my mind is at all times, because my mindset can go left so quickly, and I'll like limit myself, and very much like almost like a kind of like downing myself in a way. Like I could sit up here and say some really, really negative things about myself. I could really sit up here and say like, oh, why am I not doing X, Y, and Z like everybody else is? Or I'm looking at everybody else like, well, if they could do it, what's my problem? Like every time I start doing this, I stop. Why am I not consistent? I don't have no discipline. And it's like, but why am I talking? Like I'm speaking these things over myself. It's one thing to make a realization with an intention to correct it, like how Desinae is doing. She's realizing things and replacing them. That's active reflection, like being able to change your outcome, change your mindset. But it's nothing to dwell on it and then to like remind yourself over and over again, oh, I'm this, or I'm that, or I don't have this, or this is why I don't do this. I'll never get there. And it's like, well, of course you're not, because you're not trying to build yourself up and to encourage yourself to walk in a direction of what it is that you want to achieve. So I have to be really, really like mindful of like even today with the terrible day that I had, mindset was in the toilet. I was ready to go. I was over it. I'm like, man, this year is already starting out this way. I can't believe I have to do 2 more years of this. I can't wait to get out of here. And then it's like, chill out, bro. Like, it's only day one. like this is what you've been waiting for. And you really about to sit on here and act like this? God is probably looking like, on my blessing. What I gave you. Wow.
Man.
So I really had to check myself. And it reminds me of this sermon that I was listening to last week when I went to church, which, by the way, last week, not this past Sunday, but the week before, that was my first time back in church since before COVID. And that was crazy. That was like, wow, I need to get back in church. But we were talking about just how the enemy can like really attack you in specific areas. And it's like, you have to be prepared. And the only way you can do that is by spirit-led reflection. And so what this means is like, you're really sitting down and you're being intentional and saying, okay, like, where does the enemy like usually try to attack me in my life? For me, it's my thoughts in my mind. How does he do it? What does it look like when he usually does it? Like, what are those times in my life? For me, it's like, I'm very vulnerable when things are chaotic. I'm stressed out. I'm tired, or things aren't going the way I want to. So when like things start happening like that, I know the thoughts are going to come. And when the thoughts come, that's going to hinder me from moving forward. And the pastor was like, well, when you get in that place where you allow the enemy to limit your thoughts, what is it that the enemy is actually trying to keep you from doing? What is it that God has like planned for you, that vision that you're not doing because you're getting caught up by how you're thinking, and how your thinking translates to how you feel, and how you feel translates to how you do. And I feel like we read that in one of our books, like No Excuses, or I think like I'm a Badass at Making Money. I think both of those talked about like mindsets and how all of this kind of like translates down the line. And so I was sitting there in this sermon like, man, this is for me going into this school year, because I am so vulnerable with when Howard does one thing. Oh, I'm done. I am done. I'm like in this negative mind state, and nothing else can happen good after that point. And it's like, no, but I'm missing out on being able to like walk in the direction of everything that's planned for me when I limit myself like that. So it's so important to realize that like your thoughts, your words, like everything it holds so much power.
Definitely does. Wow. That's some good stuff, Cam and Desinae. I really need to do all of that. Like,
Yeah,
I need to sit down.
The action items, like, y'all was all really dropping gems. I mean, y'all came through with the examples and the comparisons. Jada came down, but I'm gonna give y'all 3 things. I said, let me write it down. Okay,
we're getting started.
Get your pen and paper.
I did it, my bad. But no, like, that's just so true. Like, how you have to deal with what you're going through, and knowing like when it comes to those times when you're getting in your head, like, why are you getting in your head about this? What's going on? What's really going on? Why are you feeling this way? And, making sure that it doesn't get you down, or that you know how to combat that. And then just going, I don't even know how you do it. Like, how do you sit down and think of like these, like, did you look up like, I'm really curious as to, you sat down and was like, I'm gonna write down, and probably not all, you say you do it every week, but when you're writing down like your old beliefs, how do you tap into that and kind of like separate yourself from like your beliefs, and kind of looking at them like, okay, what are my beliefs right now that are kind of, I shouldn't be focusing on them, and then switching them into new. Like, I'm just really curious on how you even get into that. Like, how do you start?
So really, it'll be like, I know like there are certain things that I do want to do, but then like I'm not doing them. And like I know that there are things that I would have access to if I just asked for them, or if like what's disabling me from being able to do this thing that I really want to do. And it'll be like fear. Okay, well, what am I scared of? That was probably like the first thing, is like, what am I scared of? Like, what am I scared of? And then when I realized like, oh, like I'm really scared of being broke, that's when I realized I had issues with money. I realized that my beliefs with money were really messed up. Because first of all, it's really not the end of the world if you're broke. And on top of that, who's to say you're gonna be broke? You're just scared of that outcome. Yeah. So it's like what am I scared of? And then it's like, well, why aren't you asking people for help when you need it? Like, what are you scared of? Because obviously, like, it's literally just fear that's holding me back from everything. What are you scared of? And that I'm going to be a burden on people around me. That's what I'm scared of. I'm scared of being a burden, so I don't want to ask for help. Or I'm scared to look like I don't have it all together, so I'm going to ask for help. And that was another limiting belief, which was like, I have to be doing something for somebody, or I have to be bringing something to the table other than myself in order to be considered valuable. So I need to have it all together. And it was like, no, my energy, my presence, I bring value. You know what I'm saying? I bring value. So that's like the new thing. But really, it's like the things that I'm scared of, and then trying to figure out, well, where did that even come from? And you really got to go way back. So it'll be so deep. Yeah, I just went way back. What are you scared of?
You just got
Because
deeper.
you're scared for
Like,
nothing.
tore each one apart. It was like,
Yep.
yeah.
Imagine once you get started, you write something else down and you're like, oh snap, like I'm gonna write this
Right,
down
like,
too.
let me put that.
I think like
Listen.
kind of just asking the question like, well, what's the root of that? And what's the root of that? And where's the root of that? And then you kind of just keep digging deeper. And that's actually really crazy, because when I went to church this past week, like, oof, Pastor ate me up, tore me up in the inside. I was like, oh, like chokehold, like he really had me, because he was talking about like I always feel like I have to be doing something. And I noticed when, that one summer when I wasn't working, I wasn't in school, and I just became really, really, really depressed. And like my thoughts, I was beating myself up. And I just feel like whenever I'm not actually doing something, I'm wasting my life away. And I'm just like I just really hate it. I feel like I'm like meaningless. I have no purpose. And it kind of trickles into my spiritual life, where I always feel like I have to be doing certain things in order to like maintain my salvation. And that is such a toxic like idea. And especially for me reading Romans right now. If y'all haven't read Romans, read Romans. Run, don't walk, please. Because it is so good. Like, it's healing my soul. Like, it's definitely healing my soul, because it's really just showing that no matter who you are, no matter what you're doing, no matter what you've done, it's just faith. And let me tell you what that faith is. And it's just like Paul wrote it, and he was just like giving it to us, and I was just like, it was just like like he was just firing the shot. And I was really like, wow, and I'm such a formula person. Like, okay, if I do this, and then I'm gonna get this outcome. And it all started really when I was a kid. Like, I could tell everybody. I remember when I was in like 4th grade, I literally am sitting there like, okay, it starts now. I have to do this. I have to get a good grade so I can go to college, so I can get a good job, so I can provide for my children and not live the lifestyle that like I'm living now because of the circumstances my parents were in. So I always felt like it was a formula that I could just like put in work, output is what I deserve. Right. Based on that work. That is so not how the spiritual and like realm kingdom work. That is not how it works. Like, it's just faith. Like, it's not by your works whatsoever. And so like I'm trying to like unlearn this, and like this journey that I'm on with redefining myself through Christ is really about really doing what Desinae is doing, like ripping up those old beliefs about myself that other people have instilled in me, that I've learned through like nurture, just things that I've subconsciously told myself over the years, things that I've experienced with men, to where like now I have beliefs about them, like, and how I can, like, I really thought, and I was really using celibacy as like my insurance ticket to getting a husband. No. That's not how it works. Not how it works. It's not a formula. It's not, oh, boop, celibate, boop, husband. No, that's not how it works. Yeah. Girl, you can be celibate for 11 years and still not get a husband, because it's not by your works. It's not like, so there's just like, there's so many different things that I'm like, since that sermon, he ate me up. I was like, okay, now let's go back to the drawing board, because I feel like I've been doing this walk, not all wrong, but like, like I kind of feel like I need to redefine it now. And that's what I really love about like my journey, is just that it's a journey and it's always changing. It's always growing. So yeah, we some growing girls, some growing women.
Man, yeah, I'm like, child, we got some work to do. I got some work to do for sure. Okay. Like, Jada, just how you was feeling like at a chokehold at that sermon last weekend? That's how I'm feeling right now. I'm like, all right, okay. But nah, like, yeah. Y'all spitting.
This
For
episode
sure.
was definitely a 4 deep for me.
For
I
Like-
would
sure.
say so.
Hands down.
I would say so.
Oh, plus
And
one.
it has the
okay?
potential to get deep off the pod too if you do your homework.
Facts.
If you
Hello.
You do your homework, right?
Do your
now it's on you.
homework.
We gave y'all the keys. What you gonna do with
Yeah.
it? Are you gonna wake
Yeah.
up tomorrow with the same mindset?
Oh. Oh.
How that's
Boom.
how.
Bye.
Boom.
See y'all next
That's all.
time.
No, but yeah, that was great. I could agree on the 4 rating for sure.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
love that. And
I'm
I'm
on
already
board.
looking forward to rewatching. Like,
Yes.
for
Me
sure.
too.
Yes.
Yeah.
This needs to be on it. Replay. Yes. Yeah. Y'all, this is what we live for. Like, y'all give me so much like life.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I need this. Before we start, I just don't be even thinking about like, dang, like I'll be feeling so good after. But before we start, I'm like, dang, I'm kind of tired.
Man.
Yeah, I told you.
But then it'd be
Hello.
like,
Sounds like-
dang, I'm glad we did this.
But I told y'all when we were looking at the our little list today, and I said, "Oh, we're talking about mindset." I'm gonna be talking to myself today because my brain has been in the shitter
Man.
since 2 p.m. When my
Man,
patient
but-
canceled, I canceled the day we canceled. So I said, "There's just no way."
Yeah, but we made it through.
Yes. Subscribe,
Mhm.
y'all. Tell a friend and tell a friend, please, because
Please.
y'all see these gems that was just dropped. Yeah, you need it. Your friend need it,
Mhm.
and your friend's friend need it too. So
Facts.
And do
Make sure you like this episode if you're on YouTube and give us 5 stars on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, whichever you may use. If you use all 3, you know what to do. Follow us
And
on
comment if
Instagram.
y'all.
Twitter.
Ooh, yes. Oh, so I was just gonna say, and if y'all got some limits and beliefs, and maybe y'all need help
Yes.
figuring out a way to combat them, you know what I'm saying? Go on and drop them or DM them, and you know what I'm saying? I'll help y'all craft a new belief to make it take its place.
Please.
You know what I'm saying? Go for
Mhm.
that one.
Yeah, we got the Desinae translator. She can turn your old belief into a new one. Okay.
Like, that's what I'm saying.
come on, baby. Come on.
Come on. Okay. But yeah, I
All
guess
right, good
we'll see
job.
y'all next week.
until
Yeah.
next time.
Bye.